In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the 5-number summary. Our objectives are to understand the 5-number summary, to determine a 5-number summary, and to create a box and whisker plot. Our vocabulary in this instance is 5-number summary. This consists of the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum. The first quartile is the median of the first half of the data. The third quartile is the median of the second half of the data. A box and whisker is a visual representation of the 5-number summary. And lastly, the interquartile range. This is the range between first and third quartiles. We first need to start with data. So, what I've chosen is the 1997-98 Chicago Bulls, one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. And we have our players and how many points each player scored. So please write this down, and we will be using it to find a 5-number summary for this data. So to find a 5-number summary, you first need to order your data. So order them. So we have 167, 198, 288, 375, 376, 416, and so on, all the way down to 2357. We have all of them in order from least to greatest. Then we need to identify or find our min and our max. Our minimum, or min, is our smallest number in the data. Our maximum, or max, is our largest number in the data. We then want to find the median. If you remember from our last video, the median is the middle of the data. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 data points, meaning that the middle would be the 6th data point. We can take 11, divide by 2, we get 5.5, meaning that we need 5 on one side and 5 on the other, and our middle would be that 6th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves 416 as our median. The next thing that we do is we split this in half. So we leave our median in the middle. Everything else, we've got our 2 halves. What we now want to do is find the median of each half. The median of this first half is known as the first quartile. The median of the second half is known as the third quartile. What this does is it splits it into 4 equal parts. That's why it's called a quartile, quarters. The median would be the middle, the second one. So there's a first quartile, a second part, and then a third part, splitting it into 4 total parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means our third one right there is our first quartile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meaning 1, 2, 3 is our third quartile. So now we have our min, max, our first and third quartiles, and our median. Now we can use these 5 things to make a box and whisker plot. What I now have is all our data. So I have our minimum, our first quartile, median, third quartile, and our maximum drawn out. What we're going to do is we're going to draw a box and whisker and use that to identify our range and interquartile range. To make a box and whisker, you typically need a number line. I have 0 all the way up to 2,500, and each little mark here is going by hundreds. So I'm just going to estimate about where each spot lies. So I have 167. So here's 100, here's 200. I've got to be somewhere in the middle of them. So I'm going to put a dot there. So for the minimum, we typically use a dot. When we get to the first quartile, we're usually going to use a vertical line. So here's 500. We want to go to 288. So 100, 200, here's 300. 288 would be a little bit closer to 300 than it would be to 200. So we're going to draw a line right here. Then we've got 416 as a median. Here's 4, here's 5. So our median is going to be closer to 4 than it is to 5. I'm also going to draw a vertical line about where 416 is. Then I've got to go all the way to 841 for my third quartile. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's 9. 841, right about the middle here. Again, quartiles have vertical lines is what we usually draw. And then lastly, we have our maximum. And again, that's like the minimum. It's got a point out here. So 2357 would be 2,000, 2100, 22, 23. 57 would be about halfway in between them. So there's my point. Now what we do to make it a box and whisker, what we've got is we have a box right here that we can connect with the median in between there, and we can connect to our points out off to the side, and these would be our whiskers. So we have our box here, which is split into two, and our whiskers on the outsides. So our range goes from 167 to 2,357. If we want to do the subtraction for that we can get a calculator out, subtract these, and we should get 2,190. The interquartile range is the same idea as the range. It's just with the first and the third quartiles. So the quartiles go from 288 to 841. Then all we have to do is, again, take our calculator out, subtract these, and we find out that the interquartile range is 553. So now we've gone over the 5-number summary and the box and whisker plot. If there's any part of this that you didn't understand, please pause the video, go back, rewind, watch again. Come with any questions to class.